This is the Russian Mosin-Nagant bolt-action rifle. Introduced in 1891, it continues to serve around the world in both combat and sport. The cartridge it fires, the 7.62 by 54 mm rimmed, is still being made for frontline use in Soviet-pattern machine guns. It is the longest-serving metallic military cartridge in the world. The Mosin-Nagant was one of the first of what we would call modern rifles, feeding from a magazine, firing a small diameter, jacketed bullet to a high velocity with smokeless powder. Millions were made in the Russian Empire, the subsequent Soviet Union, and their many client states. There are dozens of variations to occupy collectors. Large numbers of these rifles are available as inexpensive surplus in the United States, and modern ammunition made to Western standards is also available. Its ballistics, especially with hand loading, are adequate for all North American game hunting. The Mosin is also capable of respectable accuracy. I've used Mosins in competition with some success. The Mosin is the simplest and most rugged repeating rifle I'm aware of. It has a small number of parts and a strong action capable of handling firing pressures well into the 30-06 range. Again, this video won't go into field stripping and will only cover the basic mechanical operation. The two most common variants are the model 1891-1930 long rifle and the model 1944 carbine with a folding bayonet. This is a 9130 belonging to a friend. All Mosin-Nagant rifles, to my knowledge, are functionally identical. The differences will be in barrel length, sights, stock, and bayonet arrangements. Let's begin with identifying the major features. The trigger, the bolt, the cocking piece and manual safety, the magazine, the magazine floor plate, the floor plate catch, and the charger guide. Now let's look at how to clear and make safe a Mosin-Nagant bolt-action rifle. First, always keeping the weapon pointed in a safe direction and your fingers away from the trigger, open the magazine floor plate and empty the magazine of any cartridges. The floor plate catch is drawn to the rear. Depending on how stiff the old spring is, you may need a tool. Some cartridges, but not all, will then fall out at the bottom of the magazine. Next, open the bolt and pull it back. If the safety is on, the bolt will be locked, so the safety must be released first. The safety is incorporated in the cocking piece. If the cocking piece is straight up, the safety is off and the bolt will be unlocked. If the cocking piece is angled to the left, the safety is on. To release the safety, grasp the cocking piece firmly, pull it back, and rotate it to the upright position. The bolt is now unlocked and may be opened. Opening the bolt will extract and eject any cartridges in the chamber. Any cartridges left in the magazine can then be pushed through the bottom of the magazine. Do not cycle live rounds through the action, as this increases the risk of negligent discharge. With all cartridges removed, the magazine floor plate may be closed. With ammunition removed, at this point, if desired, the bore may be inspected by removing the bolt. With the bolt all the way to the rear and the weapon pointed in a safe direction, pull the trigger. The bolt then is withdrawn from the rear of the receiver. The weapon can be stored with the bolt removed for additional safety if desired. The bolt is easily reinserted from the rear. Depending on tolerances, you may have to pull the trigger again in order to insert the bolt. For handling and examination, leave the bolt open. For range safety, insert an open bolt indicator. Now let's examine loading, operation, and firing. With the weapon empty, magazine closed, and safety off, open the bolt and pull it all the way to the rear. Individual cartridges may be inserted by hand. The Mosin fires a rimmed cartridge, so it's important to make the rims overlap in the correct manner to ensure reliable feeding. There's an interrupter lever inside the mechanism which is intended to prevent double feeds or rim lock. It doesn't always work. These images show the positioning of the cartridge rim relative to the charger guide, the cartridge interrupter, and each other. The magazine holds 5 cartridges with the bolt open, but only 4 with the bolt closed. The weapon may also be loaded with a charger, also known as a stripper clip. These chargers can be found at many gun shows or many internet sites. Again, the cartridges should be loaded in the charger with the rims correctly overlapping. This is not supposed to be necessary because of the interrupter lever inside, but it does help. With the rims overlapping, the charger is then placed in the correct direction into the charger guide. You then press down firmly on the cartridges until they are all seated in the magazine. At this point, the charger is removed and the bolt is closed to chamber the first cartridge. Don't be too gentle with the bolt action. It requires firm, positive motion for correct action. The weapon is now ready to fire. For carry in the field, the safety may be engaged by firmly grasping the cocking piece, pulling it back, and rotating it to the left. This also locks the bolt. To fire, after first releasing the safety, aim and press the trigger in the usual way. The action must then be cycled to fire again. The bolt handle is lifted 90 degrees. The bolt is pulled back vigorously to extract and eject the empty cartridge case. The bolt is then pushed forward vigorously to strip the next cartridge out of the magazine and guide it into the firing chamber. The bolt handle is then turned down 90 degrees to lock the internal lugs. The weapon is ready to fire again. The Mosin is an extremely rugged weapon but does not possess the smoothest of bolt actions. The short bolt handle on standard models does not provide as much leverage as other designs, and some kinds of ammunition may stick in the chamber after firing, requiring some force to extract. There are typically 2 kinds of bayonets for the Mosin rifle series. The socket bayonet on the 9130 long rifle, which slips over the muzzle, past the front sight, and is then compressed here at the latch and rotated to lock. To release this bayonet, press the latch forward and rotate the bayonet and pull it forward. The model 1944 carbine, the other most common type, has a folding bayonet permanently mounted alongside the barrel. This has a collar which is pulled back to lock and release. Its operation should be obvious. This should conclude the basic operation of the Mosin-Nagant bolt-action rifle.